to make this project survive, so that we can make more contribution to this country, to the master plan, towards the ambitious goal of renewable energy, maybe by 2030 or even by 2040. So that's my suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you are very specifically highlighted two issues. I think payment dues is a really recent concerns, and for making payments to take credit, borrowing is also another concerning issue. So that also increase the cost of operation, overall operation. And we are looking forward to that the government will come with a more positive steps to make clear all the due payments. Here, I'm coming to you. Please go ahead.
Okay, it's working. My question is quite similar with that, sir, because I'll make a brief introduction first. My name is Jack, and I'm from the Invention Group. And I think today we have talked too much on solar energy, and I would like to mention 2 points on wind energy. First of all, is there guidelines from government or related authorities on the wind energy, wind power land use regulation? And thirdly, is there any guidance price on the future wind power price? So I hope I'm not sure if anyone from here can give me some guidance on those 2 points. Thank you.
Thank you. We like to hear from Sreda, colleague. Do you have any wind power related land purchase agreement clause or the wind power price related any understanding?
Actually, at this moment, we don't have the wind guideline, especially we are on process of offshore and onshore wind guideline. So when the guideline is approved, then it will be included here, and we are working on it. But in individual cases, we are giving permission for wind assessment or similar works. So I think we have given one permission to one Chinese company. They may be here, maybe this person, they are getting permission to do the wind assessment activities. And we are very wide and open for such activities. So if some company can, more other company can come, we will give permission, and we will not take any delay, or delaying is not the job for Sreda. We want to do as quick as possible. Wind guideline, actually the wind guideline, one wind guideline was onshore wind guideline. It was under the special act. That's why, or you can say this is special act, and you can say something. You can just propose, and you can convince the authority, and then you can do it. That's why this present government is not doing this. This present government is only for competitive tendering process. That's why we can say this existing wind guideline is not working at this moment. But new one will come very soon.
So they are working on a new guideline regarding the wind power. So please go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. So I would like to really appreciate CPD. I found Dr. Ghulam Mojam Bhai very vocal this time, but I didn't find last November this way. But if the CPD could talk this way, maybe things could be changed by 24. That didn't happen. So regarding the scrapping of 34 or 31 LOIs, till now, government didn't sit with us, even today. They simply issued a letter with all of us. It's postponed, suspended, not cancelled yet. The litigation is still ongoing, but we don't know when we'll get the result. So after scrapping the LOIs, many companies left out of the country. For instance, Hero Future Energies, Singaporean registered company, Total Eren, Marubeni left the project. But till date, government didn't take not a single steps. Even BIDA, Shreda, energy regulatory commissions, no one has taken any single steps. And I found BIDA is very less control to attract the investors. Last time, I also raised the point, BIDA, that BIDA is our kind of guardian, mainly who will attract the investors. But we would like to see such initiative steps from the government sides, why the good and foreign developers are leaving the country. We should attract them, not only for the Chinese investors. Altogether, they could build a new Bangladesh here, definitely. And renewable energy market, Bangladesh has a huge potentiality. So I'm talking another point. This time, even the competitive bidder process, we have seen that 3 or 4 companies participating in everywhere, every places. So it's alarming. Again, if you don't control, if you cannot make the policy changes proper way, again, this market will be controlled 4 or 5 companies. So ultimately, the objective will not be success. Another issue was the tariff rate issue, the 70-30. We have raised our vocal many times, but government never listened our words. And from this session, actually, we would like to see more engagement from the government bodies so that we can get real-time answer from them. Because otherwise, we have done a lot of seminars, lot of sessions, lot of press briefing, but the result is ultimately zero. But again, appreciated CPD, the recommendations that Mojim bhai have been raised here is really very much important. And still we expect that somebody will listen these recommendations and they will look forward again and they will review it again. Thank you.
Thank you. As you see that senior officials from different government bodies are here, we are waiting to hear from them as well. Anyone from yes? Yes. Please go ahead. Please introduce yourself first.
Thank you. I am Engineer Mukit Alam Khan from SPIC, that wind power plant. I'm the project director over there. Thank you for giving the floor to give me some time to have. I want to actually, in this tender, I want to point out one thing, that there is no guarantee with ministry. Actually, I'm not saying about the guarantee. We have talked about a lot, but for the tender, all responsibility lies to BPDB. When I went to ministry and ministry told me that actually everything will be done by BPDB, ministry will not have any participation on this matter. So when we done this, our Cox's Bazar project, we had to go at least 7 or 8 ministries or 15 or 16 government agencies for different certificates and many things. So what we found, that there is a very lack of interministerial or interdepartmental communication gap, which we had overcome with help of ministry. That ministry, when we stuck somewhere, ministry intervene and ministry tries to make them understand on behalf of us. But I doubt that BPDB can do it, but because BPDB is also a government agency and another government agency will listen to BPDB, it is like, it never happened to us, like we have seen past 7 years. So this interdepartmental communication gap should be addressed very specifically. And in the Public Procurement Act, the tender, under the Public Procurement Act, the tender has been floated. But unfortunately, this Public Procurement Act is not aligned with any kind of power project, though we have done like almost 5 gigawatt plus wind solar projects under this act, which is which feels little confusing for the our foreign investors, not only Chinese but also other foreign.
I cannot get your point.
I'm saying that the Public Procurement Act, the tender has been floated under this act. So this Public Procurement Act is not aligned with any kind of power project to float any tender for power projects specifically. It is okay for roads, bridges, and other things, but for the power plants for a tender, it is not fully aligned. Maybe 50% aligned or 60% aligned, but not fully aligned. when there is not fully aligned, at least 90 or 95% aligned, it is hard for foreign investors to act with this law. So it is also a little concerning for us as a foreign investor. Another thing we need to address that our customs, VAT and tax. We have a specific SRO from past 15 or 20 years that renewable energy projects or any kind of power plant projects should be VAT and tax exempted. But the problem is, SRO has been given by NBR, but customs officers are independent. They often don't want to listen or don't want to abide by the rules. They thought that okay, this item is not uh, 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 aligned with this power plant, so it cannot be VAT tax exempted. So we had to pay sometimes 200%, 300% tax to customs, though we have tax exemption certificate from NBR. This is also alarming that because when we calculate our tariff, we calculate with 100% tax benefited method. But when we bring the goods actually, NBR asks for this 100%, 200% tax, which is also increase our project cost, but we have already got our tariff. We cannot got our increased tariff. This is also very alarming. You need to address. And another thing is I want to add with Abu Hana Bhai that BIDA matter. BIDA for us, we have 14 personnel like Mr. Jin, and we have another 13 personnel. We have get work permit for every one of them. What happens? BIDA takes a lot of time to give the work permit for foreign people, and after that, so we have to work like BIDA takes 3 months, 4 months, 5 months time to give the work permit. But we have to work. BIDA, when we want to get for the final approval, BIDA actually calculates the time, these 5 months of his staying, and BIDA asks for charge that why this person stay in Bangladesh without work permit, and we had to give a lot of VAT for them also. But when we tell BIDA that yes, we have submitted work permit application 5 months ago, they said that yes, we have submitted. What we can do? We have processed our file, and during the process it takes 3 months, 4 months. It is a schedule, so he should come 5 months later. But we cannot stop our project for 5 months. They are the specialized personnel from China. So these kind of things are very problematic for any kind of project, not only in power project, any kind of projects. It is very alarming. We have paid a lot of VAT and tax except from our actual project cost, just for project sake, just for project development, just not to stop the project, and we have spent like millions over the project cost. So this, if I will request CPD to address these specific points in your study to facilitate all
yes,
these
I
things.
think, thank you. I think very specific points, 4 points that you have mentioned, very specific. I appreciate if you share a written write-up regarding these 4 points. That will be helpful for us. Okay, the last point in the field, another 1 or 2. Yes, can you just go 1 minute, please?
Sir, can you give us a little more time? Okay, so my name is Shakir Ahmed. Actually, I'm the CEO of the Anchorex Corporation. Previously, I worked for the many companies as a different positions. I've been served myself 25 years in power sector. Right at the moment, I'm really frustrated, worried, and concerned. Due to so many things happen. First of all, the LOI cancelled whimsically and unilaterally taking.
I think LOI issue has already been brought up. Just
raising the
any
point.
new
All right.
issue, please.
New issues, the thing is, as you mentioned, the Quick Enhancement Act already cancelled, we appreciated it. But there is also another act, 1980 Foreign Private Protection Act, which is the BIDA Private Protection Act. So many foreign investors already invested. Where is the remedy? There is no remedy. There is an act, but there's no remedy. We are not protecting any foreign investor. The act cancelled. They already invested, but government not taking the consider of 1980 Act, the Foreign Investment Act. That is the one of the. raising concern from myself. We already asked so many times, there is an act, you have to take the go to the scrutiny and taking the decision. The perception created everybody corrupted. I'm as a professional, my perception, I'm a corrupted person. So why don't government taking a decision against me? I raise my voice. Second thing, I was worried about the taking some policies. The policies already has been taken, but there is no implementation of the right pathway. And everybody appreciated about the merchant power. I'm really concerned about it. Because of the Bangladesh consumes 750 kilowatt hour per capita energy. The smallest merchant capital market is Singapore. Consumption per person 8,500 kilowatt per hour. What is the market in Bangladesh? The biggest consumer is REB, 10,000 megawatt. 80 Shomiti, they called it Shomiti. Only 13 Shomiti is profitable. Only 13. 67 or something like that. They are non-profitable. They are in the loss. They have so many issues. I found only few of areas only, which is merchant power is really workable. That is EPZ, which is under the BIDA or BEPSA. Only the few of they are the capable because the merchant power plant tariff or something like that is very high. You need someone who can buy it. The concern thing is, are we really taking these merchant power policies for existing very powerful groups? Because they already exist in the EPZ. This is merchant power price is not considerable for the renewable energy. Renewables is concerned priority should be the reducing the cost or something like that. But the investment is very high. Local bank and no one can invest for the utility scale up. Last point, the open tender already submitted, 41 on tender already submitted. 20 location, single bidder or no bidder. One group already grabbed 10 project. And that to 21, another location, local peoples, they already submitted, and also worried about what we will be fined because of so many people mentioned some of local companies provoking them to giving the EPC price like whimsical price. They don't know what actually the price would be for the investment will become for the conventional utility scale for the person. This is the way everything is going on. So I'm really worried, frustrated, and concerned.
Thank you. I think you have raised very thought-provoking issues regarding the merchant power plant issue, FDI Act issue, as well as the open tender issue. Thank you for your intervention. Last intervention. Yes. Can you just briefly mention 1 minute, please?
Yes, it's Tariq. I'm just working for Fujian Yangfu Power Engineering Company Limited. So one thing I just want to highlight, and I have put recommendation to CPD, through CPD to the government. We had a tender, open tender already, like 3 lot already was submitted. But we found that some of the condition is very challenging for the foreign investor.
Can you just specify?
Like the financing issues, number one, some of the clauses, which is very difficult. What already you had discussed in your presentation, also you mentioned, like without local representation, it's very challenging to meet those conditions within short period of time. So if the small project is fine, but it's a big project, it's quite impossible to meet those deadlines and submit the documents on time. So what I'm just suggesting, so we put all these terms and conditions, we just had a several discussion in the pre-briefing meeting, but it's very unfortunate, like we found they are not ready to listen from the real investor who wants to really do the real projects. That's very unfortunate from the investor point of view. So whatever, like we proceed on it, but what the recommendation I put it, what today's forum we have hearing there will some of the new opportunities coming up, like rooftop, merchant power plant, those things coming up. So I will request through you, like put the terms and condition and This is investor friendly. So that's my recommendation.
Thank you. I think that we understood it. Just I coming, I mean, to you last, will be the last one, but Mr. Han will say something.
So thank you so much to hand over the stage to me. I will try to make it as short as possible. So for a foreign investor, we ourselves invested 2 power plants in Bangladesh. So one of them, they have not so big piece of land, but they have to dealing with more than 200 landowners. So due to these land problems, so financing comes, the first drawdown comes after completion of the construction time. So that means we could either call that refinance or we call that delayed disbursement of loans. So I want to try to say that as a foreign investor come to Bangladesh in the power sector, once we want to do something, we have to bear some risk. But some risk is kind of beyond our control. So in the power sector, land is a critical matters. So the investor have to bear such risk. Then the transmission line, the IPPs have to dealing independently, for sure, with some support of BPDB, dealing with PGCB for the transmission matters. So for the permission and other permitting license, we need to dealing with NBR. We need to, for sure, dealing with BIDA, for sure, and other agencies. So as a foreign investor, what they have to do is so much that they factor such risk, such overwork into their tariff. Finally, the purpose is to get the project financeable or bankable. If the project is not financeable or bankable, the project cannot be finally come to the stage. So what I want to try to say that for most of the economy, emerging economy or developing countries, due to we do not have so advanced, so sophisticated financial market, so we do not have so much financial instruments to mitigate our own risk. So that's why we either factor the risk into the tariff or we need some commercial or concessional insurance entity to cover our risk. One of them is government support. So that's why in most of the emerging economy, government usually offer sovereign guarantee to the investor to make the project bankable. Otherwise, no one will easily come to take risk and make investment. So regarding the sovereign guarantee, a lot of people have misinterpretations. In Bangladesh, it is a so-called sovereign guarantee is not actually the credit guarantee. It is a performance guarantee because BPDB is a counterpart of PPA. So once BPDB is default in payment of the tariffs, Ministry of Power on behalf of Bangladesh government will regulate, will ask, will even enforce BPDB to fulfill their repayment obligations. But government will not so easily take responsibility of BPDB's borrowing or repayment obligation. That means mostly government leverage the investor come to BPDB with just a performance sovereign guarantee, rather than they will actually take money from their own pocket and pay the investor. No, never happened so far. But this is also already very important. So in terms of a BPDB alone, the credibility of financial statements, financial credibility is not so strong. But most of the financial institutions accept because BPDB was being guaranteed in performance by Ministry of Power. For sure, it is the government of Bangladesh. So that's why guarantee is a very important factor to get the renewable project finally landed in Bangladesh. Now the new policy, though it is drafted, so the guarantee is nowhere because they tries to diversify the off-takers. They would like to encourage the power of electricity selling to the big consumers, large consumers. So the large consumers, so far in Bangladesh, there are some conglomerates, but actually not so many, to be very frankly. Still, government, especially BPDB, is the largest off-taker. We personally think that, yes, we encourage diversified off-taker is a trend in the future, but we may not be so radically go so fast that overnight BPDB comes into as a supporting facility, supporting entity. Rather, they encourage so many companies, so many big companies. You should be the big purchaser rather than always increase burden to government. But that will not easily happen. That will take a long time. So I think that reform policy making should come in an incremental way rather than so quick that no one can catch up with your space. So this is one matter, guarantee matter. So again, I propose that guarantee, especially sovereign guarantee, is very important for renewable project, continue to be the biggest FDI attraction factor. So for the cooperation among ministries, actually, so far, me as a foreign investor, my feeling is that BIDA has already making their utmost efforts to attract investors. So far, especially in the recent months, recent years, BIDA so far has do a lot of efforts to make the environment as friendly as possible. CEAB have a monthly breakfast meeting with BIDA to discuss how to facilitate Chinese investors' easiness coming to Bangladesh. But still, it takes a long time. Why it takes some time? Because cooperation among ministries is a headache. No one is so strong enough to control so many auxiliary or so many competent authorities that give full support to the foreign investors. I think in this regard, I think government of top levels are supposed to have some thinking about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Han. Just 1 minute, I think we like to close. Yeah, Mr. Yamin, just half minute.
Thank you so much. This is Yamin. I work for Agence France Presse, international news agency. So my question is to Dr. Moazzam, as you have recommended to think the government, to review the cancelled project again. So as you know, all these projects were awarded under unsolicited process, and you know the unsolicited process where there was no accountability, transparency, and competitiveness. So that actually impacted the tariff of the solar power that already made the solar power, renewable power expensive, and it is expensive than furnace oil based electricity. So, and CPD has been advocating on behalf of transparency, accountability for long time, and many years. Even you have been recommending to stop unsolicited project awarding under unsolicited process. So once you disagreed or once you demanded to cancel project that have been taken through unsolicited process, now you are recommending to review the project that has been cancelled. So isn't it contradict to your ethical ground on accountability and transparency and competitiveness?
Thank you. Yeah, I think you have raised a very pertinent questions. The question here is that we also talked about it in detail. Since a number of investments are in a transition, were in transition. So, and they have government already provided LOI, means that almost government agreed to purchase power from some of the companies, and those companies have already made investments towards that direction. So in that consideration, we think that those projects can get the opportunity to review. Of course, it will not review in the sense that it will just revive and accept, not like that. Again, the review may consider to the current context, because some of those projects were granted in 2017, some of those granted in 2019 when the price was quite high. So reviewing means not like accepting with the previous terms. Reviewing means that accepting with the current reality, current purchase price and other costs, and that process need to be revived. That's CPD is actually mentioning. Just one point, please, last point.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your explanation to the last issues raised by Mr. Amin. I have seen that this is a study paper, a study team, Dr.
Can you just mention directly your point, please?
Yes. My point is that in this study process, I think one issue's been not considered, that is the political issues. Political attachment or collaboration or engagement with the projects was not being considered in this study, I think.
Didn't get your point. What's your message here?
Message is that the project which had been awarded before, you did not study that how it had been awarded, whether there had been any political engagement with the projects or associations. That has not been discussed or pointed out in your studies. So that is one issues.
Okay.
I like to raise.
Thank you, brother. Let me close the open discussion. I can thank you for your thought-provoking suggestions, comments, and feedback. And we appreciate your interventions during the open discussion session. Let me actually end this long discussion. Just before coming to the head table guests, we received some comments from our online participants. One mentioned from who participated in the Zoom mentioned that are there any policies in place regarding with waste to energy, that is landfill gas to energy, whether government has any policy or not? That one participant from online like to hear. Another mentioned how maintenance of existing solar panels can be improved so that it provides sufficient light up to 20 years. So that's a technological issue that has been mentioned there. Another person mentioned that, dear directors, we are a state-owned Chinese EPC contractor. As per tariff regulations, the tariff rate for panel is 26.2%, and the inverter is 37%. Energy storage battery is 89.3%, which is still high. We also saw renewable energy policy 2025, which mentioned some incentive policy. We want to consult that when will the tariff reduction policy or some new SRO be implemented. So he expects some further reduction of tariff to make the renewable energy-based projects competitive. Thank you for all your online interventions. Let me invite my last three guests. First, I would like to invite Mr. Mohammad Alauddin, Rector, Bangladesh Power Management Institute, to say a few words.
So, thank you, Mojam Bhai, for extending an invitation to attend this event. And also, it is an honor for me to sit beside the Honorable Chairman Bark, who is our senior colleague and a scholar bureaucrat. And I must first thank the keynote presenter, Dr. Moazem, and Abrar Ahmed Bhuiya for their well-articulated presentation. I believe I will get 4 minutes, not 5. Yes. So straight I will go to my comment on one point that is challenging in developing rooftop solar project. So one of the point is capacity limitation for establishments. If an establishment has a demand of 2 megawatt, it is not allowed to install more than 2 megawatt of solar capacity. So apparently it sounds good, but since we have two professors, one from Farsi Mahmood from Buet, another from Dhaka University, Nasif Shams, here is another issue of grid stability. Once you export all the power to the grid. So before making such recommendation, we need to go for a grid impact study for that. Otherwise, it will be difficult to make such comment. This is my one point. And also, the ultimate objective of the rooftop policy is to lessen your electricity bill and supply surplus electricity to the grid. But in disguise, you can't make it make an inroad for another that power plant. You get my point? So this is the ultimate objective. So otherwise, I'm okay with this. And another risk associated with project OPEX model. Yes, here is a risk. The recommendation put forward by President BSREA. This is really a matter of concern for the third party who is going to invest about his investment security on it. So these are my short recommendation. And also I take this privilege, lot many issues have been discussed that are quite valid. So I had the opportunity to study at some length about the investment risks for renewable electricity in Bangladesh. So also we have found in our study that we have surveyed 46 key stakeholders. So our finding is power market risks and also permit risks. They are the most important, pose important challenges in renewable energy investment. So somehow or other, we have to de-risk this investment to attract the investment. Oftentimes we talk about foreign investment. In fact, it is fair to say the investment. If it is comfortable for local investment, equally it will be comfortable for the foreign investment. So there is a tendency to highlight, focus on the foreign investors, not necessarily. If we have a level playing field, if local investors are comfortable, foreign investors will be automatically comfortable. This is my point. And so, for example, the power market risks, our policy instrument will be PPA to address that one, and also fossil fuel subsidy reform, and also long-term RE targets that can address the risk. And also permit risks, that is although you have nicely articulated in your presentation, one-stop licensing. Another point raised in the discussion that the help desk sort of thing, because you have nicely articulated that instead of promoting, we now eye on facilitation. That is quite important. In SEDA, while I was chairman SEDA, we did develop a help desk for renewable energy, dedicated for the only renewable energies. So our entrepreneurs or the sponsors can use that help desk for primary information, and also their expected energy yield. From that help desk, they can get those services. And also for renewable energy data, the onus is on SEDA to provide data and information necessary for the investors or entrepreneurs. And also they are supposed to, as per the act of SEDA, they are supposed to act as a repository of data and knowledge for renewable energy. So this is from my side, because since our senior colleague is here, I would like to take more time. Thank you so very much again for inviting me. And I am enlightened by your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alauddin Bhai. I think you have rightly mentioned very specific 3-4 points which you need to take into account. Let me actually invite at this stage our another guest of honor, Mr. Nahian Rahman Rochi, Head of Business Development, Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, BIDA. Thank you for coming to CPD program.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Didn't want to miss the entire session because clearly this is a sector which is a priority sector for all of us. And I'm very glad that I made time to hear, especially the comments that was brought up, right? So let me start with the comments and feedback that we got from all the speakers. I actually think that was very engaging and very to the point and very relevant, especially the points regarding our task force for renewable energy. There was a point around having a protection period for investors after they make an investment. There was also an action point recommended regarding having a post-implementation support as well, not only the pre-implementation or pre-project ones. I think these are all very good points. One thing I just wanted to offer, because I don't know that we are already running over time and I wouldn't have a long sort of space to talk, but first offer that I want to give to everyone is definitely one of the reasons why I am taking part in this discussion with CPDs. I want to leave this communication channel open. All these recommendations that you guys have, if you can probably just consolidate it into a piece of paper, into specific recommendations for us, and I will definitely take that from CPD and from whatever we can do. And we, as many of you said, we are the arm for the investors, right? So whatever policy recommendations that BIDA can give, we will definitely put it forward and make sure that this gets the highest notice and attention from different stakeholders. That's a commitment that I can make. I know that one of the speakers mentioned that we often don't play our role. I also take that feedback, but on this topic, I can clearly confirm and commit to you that once you give us the set of recommendations, we will assess and we will put forward the best ones. Specifically, the feedback that came from the floor, they were, if I try to categorize them in sort of three different feedback, right? One was regarding process and policy. So regarding your policies on waste to energy, policies regarding wind energy, policies regarding tender process, it becomes limiting and all of that. So if you can club this under a process recommendation or a policy recommendation, that probably would be my first category. The second one was regarding tariff issues, duties and all of that. Look, I think with that one, we probably will never be able to go to the desired level at one go. It has to be a few rounds, right? So, but once again, if we can have a more medium to long-term recommendation on how we can do a benchmarking with a few other countries to get to a desired level over a 2 to 3 year or a 4-year period, probably that recommendation would be good regarding the tariff piece. The last one, which is execution or facilitation. On this one, I think those should be solved immediately. One of the speakers mentioned here about a few issues regarding NBR policy making versus execution. I think that's a no-no, that's a no-starter, right? So immediately, if there are issues like this, highlight to us, they should be solved immediately. Similarly, the work permit issue. So I'm very sorry to hear that they face issues like that, but once again, these issues should not be prevailing. We do have space to accommodate delays in getting security clearance for work permits and all of that. So if issues like this happen, definitely we can take care of. So this is my first piece of, I hear all the feedback and please do send it back to us for us to sort of come back to you with specific action points. A few comments from my end to sort of close this section of the discussion. I think clearly the demand supply equation of renewable energy is there. I think all of us understand that. I think we are one of the most fertile lands in terms of getting solar energy, right? It's one of the highest radiation levels. That's what I hear and that's what I've read. In terms of demand, with the industrialization happening, the demand is also going to be there for sure. So I think the demand supply equation is given. We require around 1.5 to 2 billion investment annually to cope up with this demand of 2030 and 2041. So I think the investment piece is also very clear. The challenge I think we face mostly is that enabling piece or facilitation piece, right? I think the business case is there, but once people want to invest, for me, investors are both local and foreign. I don't segregate in my mind. So if, as he said, if the local investors are happy, foreign investors definitely will be happy as well, right? I think once you try to land in this country, that's where the challenges start. A few of the things which we are starting immediately or have started. First thing is, if you look at the structure of BIDA typically or historically, there was no sector-based desk or sector-based sort of team. What we are doing is we already have identified the 19 priority sectors, and within them we also have categorization. Renewable energy is one of the top priorities. We will move into a desk-based facilitation center in BIDA. So we will try to initiate a renewable energy-based desk, which will not only do facilitation, but also help with all this policy advocacy, these recommendations that you were sending to us. We can already create a bridge with agencies like CPD to work on them. So this is an action point which we are trying to trigger or implement within the next 1.5 months within our BIDA structure. With regards to China, and I have to highlight that piece because this is specifically for the Chinese investors, and I can see a lot of Chinese familiar faces. So we are trying to also set up a representative arm of BIDA in China. If preferably possible, having a Chinese representative there who can also speak the language. That probably settles our quite a few issues that was highlighted in the study regarding language barriers, regarding understanding of the country issues and all of that. So that's also one action item that we are working on from BIDA. If we can have a representation arm in China who is preferably a Chinese individual. Third, payment dues and the subsequent tariff increase that he mentioned, right? As you can see on the news, I think government has taken a significant step in trying to make sure that we clear our dues. We are really trying hard, and that's actually the priority item. If you look at all the actions we have taken, I'm very happy to see this morning that Chevron did mention that they are now going to reinitiate their gas project because they got around 250 million dues repaid. So I think these are good signs. These are good signals. Of course, this is only one example. I can understand the challenges that you guys have and subsequently the recommendation of having guarantees. So I think once we have a few more of these cases where we are able to fully give up or sort of settle the dues, then we think the confidence will be back. Land issues regarding issues related to getting lands and all of that, right? So I think that's given, and that's a common challenge that I hear from across the table. One good news that I can give you guys is we are trying to sort of also unlock the land bank that we have in our economic zones. So what we have done, and this came out yesterday, we are now doing a public PPP project run by ADB to have solar projects in the economic zones. This solves two purposes, right? One, you have a sort of a captive land bank. So the issues with the land tariffs going up and all gets eliminated. That's A. And B, if you are running it by a third party like ADB, you also get rid of that unsolicited question mark as well, right? This is a big change within the current system. Something like that was not there. Yesterday, we signed the TSA agreement with ADB, and this is going to come out in the next 2 to 3 months. So I think once that goes out, this is also going to unlock that big question mark on that land availability, and also third parties being able to run tenders using a PPP model. So I think that's also going to probably alleviate a lot of your problems. And the last piece is with the duty structures and all of that. One thing I can tell you is the proposals we have put forward to NBR regarding specific sectors on tariff, customs duties and all of them were listened to. Actually, all of those were reflected in the latest budget. So there is an appetite and willingness from the customs authorities and NBR authorities to listen to the investors. All that we need is the support from you to give us that exact recommendations on a piece of paper, which is probably balanced. Just an example, the inverter rate, which got reduced to 1% for HS code 85, that was actually done this budget as well, right? So I think this is one signal again, but this is a long journey. We cannot go there tomorrow because there is also that revenue balancing piece. But if we can agree to a roadmap for renewable, okay, look, so these are the specific items where we require tariff adjustments over a period of time, which balances the revenue requirement of the government as well. I think that probably would be a more palatable pitch, which we will sort of give from our end. We are happy to receive the recommendations from you. So these were the 4 or 5 things I wanted to talk related to facilitation. I think these are all good signals. Studies like this done by CPD are helpful. I contradict to the view that individual mentioned that Moazzem Bhai never was this strict. He has always been strict with us, but I think this work like this is more balanced. This gives a very true picture of what's happening with the investors, and this works as a good source and resource for us. So I definitely will take your feedback. That's the commitment I make. And any other feedback or recommendations you have, please channel it via CPD. We will definitely look into it. There was one recommendation coming from the news channel that if I can give a summary in Bengali. Yes. Okay, so I probably will give 4 to 5 liners in Bengali for the media. সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ আজকে এখানে আসার জন্য, এবং তারা সবাই যে ইস্যুসগুলা এবং যে চ্যালেঞ্জেসগুলো হাইলাইট করেছে প্রত্যেকটি রেলিভেন্ট, এবং আমাদের কাছ থেকে ওনাদের কাছে রিকোয়েস্ট থাকবে আমাদেরকে প্রপারলি ব্যবহার করার জন্য। তারা যদি এই রিকমেন্ডেশন গুলোকে একটি সামারি আকারে, একটি কনসলিডেট করে একটি সামারি আকারে সিপিডির মাধ্যমে আমাদের কাছে পাঠায়, তাহলে অবশ্যই আমরা চেষ্টা করব এটাকে রিভিউ করে এটার এগেইনস্টে যে প্রপার অ্যাকশন রিকমেন্ডেশন গুলো দেওয়া উচিত গভর্নমেন্টের ডিফারেন্ট এজেন্সিগুলোকে, সেগুলোতে আমরা পাঠিয়ে দেওয়ার। এর বাইরে আমাদের দিক থেকেও কিছু উদ্যোগের ব্যবস্থা রয়েছে, যেমন আমি বলছিলাম পিপিপি প্রজেক্টের আওতায় এডিবির সাথে যৌথভাবে একটি সোলার প্রজেক্টের টেন্ডার করা। আমরা চেষ্টা করব আমাদের বিডার মধ্যে প্রায়োরিটি সেক্টর বেসিসে ডেস্ক তৈরি করা, যেমন রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি ডেস্ক হতে পারে। আমরা চেষ্টা করছি আমাদের যেগুলি প্রায়োরিটি কান্ট্রি আছে বা দেশ আছে, যেমন চায়না একটি প্রায়োরিটি ইনভেস্টমেন্ট কান্ট্রি, সেখানে যাতে আমাদের রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ থাকে এবং যারা ওই দেশীয় ভাষায় কথা বলতে পারে, যাতে ইনভেস্টরদের জন্য আসা সহজ হয়। এবং অবশ্যই আমাদের পেমেন্ট ডিউজ ছিল অনেক। আমি আজকে সকালেই দেখলাম শেভরন ঘোষণা দিয়েছে তারা তাদের যে প্রজেক্টটি থামিয়ে রেখেছিল পেমেন্ট না পাওয়ার জন্য, সেটি তারা আবার শুরু করছে। আমাদের বিশ্বাস যে এরকম ছোট ছোট কিছু পদক্ষেপ আসলে আস্তে আস্তে আবার কনফিডেন্স ফেরত আনবে। আমরা জানি আমাদের ট্রান্সপারেন্সি, আমাদের প্রসেস নিয়ে অনেক কোয়েশ্চেন ছিল। আপনারা সবাই বলেছেন এলওআই ক্যান্সেলেশন একটি চ্যালেঞ্জ, এবং এটার ফিডব্যাকটা আমরা সবাই নিচ্ছি। আমাদেরকে দেখতে হবে কিভাবে আমরা আমাদের প্রসেস গুলোকে এমন ভাবে শক্তভাবে তৈরি করতে পারি যাতে কখনো কোনো চ্যালেঞ্জ না আসে এটা ট্রান্সপারেন্সি নিয়ে। সেটি আমাদের টার্গেট হবে, এবং আমি যেটি বললাম আপনারা যদি আপনাদের ফিডব্যাক পাঠিয়ে দেন আমরা চেষ্টা করব সেগুলোকে রিভিউ করে প্রপার অ্যাকশন নিতে। এটি আমার পক্ষ থেকে। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you, Mr. Nayan, Head of Business Development, BIDA. I think you have very specifically mentioned how BIDA can take some of the recommendations that have come forward from the paper as well as from the open flow. And we'll be very happy to pass on concrete proposals and suggestions that have come to us. And we will put those put forward to you for necessary action. Thank you. Let me actually invite at last to Mr. Jalal Ahmed, today's special guest, Chairman, Bangladesh Energy Regulatory Commission, Government of Bangladesh. I am very sorry that for a long time, a good number of participants have already left. For a chief guest of such a crowd is not very welcoming, but still that I am actually very grateful to Jalal Ahmed Bhai for so much patience for giving us and to stay here for last 4 hours. Thank you for your patiently waiting for the last, and over to you, Jalal Bhai.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Kondakar Ghulam Mojim. In fact, we shared table for the first time, I think, while I was in Export Promotion Bureau in 2010-11. So we know each other well, and certainly I thank him and his team for this wonderful study and presentation they have made. The sector is very important, as we all are aware. The energy, one person, in fact, mentioned the per capita consumption of energy. We know that it relates with the economic development of a country, how much energy they consume. So it is very important for us, and we have set the priority also. As we are aware, in the energy and power master plan, there were a mix of power bag, how much we expected to get from renewables. The target was certainly, it was on the higher side, and it is mentioned by a representative of state that the renewable energy policy has been approved, and there the target has been reviewed, and it has been now set in for 2030, it is 20% and 30% for 2040. we have a system of online application in BRC, but it is, as he has mentioned, I think 90% online, 10% offline, or 80% online, 10% offline. So the people have to visit us, they have to bring papers, they have to show the papers, we have to examine. So these hassles are there. And there are all these hassles, it is mentioned in this report. I am particularly interested in the recommendations they made. So from BRC, I will go through these recommendations, and I will go through, in fact, I have listened you, those you have mentioned here. I have taken note of this. I will review these recommendations given by you and mentioned by CPD as it will be published, this report. So we will try to, on my part, from part of BRC, we will try to engage with the government. Legal, in fact, I have a responsibility given by law also to advise the government on some issues. So we are in a position to talk with the government how to ease the doing business for the investors generally and for the Chinese investors in particular. I hope this session will be beneficial for the Chinese investors here in Bangladesh and will help us to go forward to achieve the target set in the new policy, the 20% by 2030. For the media, as they have requested to tell something in Bengali, I am just going to address them. সিপিডি কে ধন্যবাদ এই চমৎকার একটি স্টাডির জন্য, যেটি মূলত বাংলাদেশে চৈনিক যে বিনিয়োগ আছে রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি ক্ষেত্রে সেটির উপর করা হয়েছে। আমরা জানি যে বাংলাদেশের যে এনার্জি যা পাওয়ার মিক্স যেটা আছে, আমরা গ্যাস ভিত্তিক বিদ্যুৎ কেন্দ্র রয়েছে, আমাদের কয়লা ভিত্তিক বিদ্যুৎ কেন্দ্র রয়েছে, তরল জ্বালানি ভিত্তিক বিদ্যুৎ কেন্দ্র রয়েছে, এবং উই হ্যাভ রিনিউয়েবলস অলসো। রিনিউয়েবলের যে অংশ যেটা, এটা আমরা জানি কমে গিয়েছে অনেকখানি, কারণ আমাদের অন্য ক্ষেত্রে বিদ্যুৎ উৎপাদন অনেক বেড়েছে, যে কারণে রিনিউয়েবলের যে অংশ ছিল সেটি আমরা গাণিতিক হারে যে দশমিক যদি হিসাব করে পার্সেন্টেজ, সেটা কমে গিয়েছে। আমাদের যে এনার্জি পাওয়ার সেক্টর মাস্টার প্ল্যান ছিল, সেখানে আমাদের যে উচ্চ হারে যে লক্ষ্যমাত্রা নির্ধারণ করা হয়েছিল, যেটা কিছুটা আনএচিভেবল ছিল, সেটি নতুন এনার্জি রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি পলিসি 2025-এ এটি পুনর্নির্ধারণ করা হয়েছে। সো 2030 সালের মধ্যে 20% রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি থেকে অর্জন, এটা হয়তো চেষ্টা করা যেতে পারে, এবং চেষ্টা করলে এটা অর্জন সম্ভব হতে পারে। কিন্তু সম্ভব হবে তখনই যখন এক্ষেত্রে আমরা বাধাগুলি দূর করতে পারবো। যে বাধাগুলি এই স্টাডিতে এসেছে এবং যে পরামর্শগুলি এসেছে, সেগুলি সরকার গুরুত্বের সঙ্গে বিবেচনা করবে বলে আমি বিশ্বাস করি। এখানে একটি বিষয় গুরুত্বের সঙ্গে উল্লেখ করেছেন সিপিডি রিপোর্টে এবং যারা অংশগ্রহণকারী, বিশেষ করে এই অন্তর্বর্তী সরকার যে এলওআই গুলি বাতিল করেছে, তারা প্রস্তাব করেছেন এটা এগুলি রিভিউ করার জন্য। এর মধ্যে যুক্তি রয়েছে এবং এখানে উল্লেখ করা হয়েছে যে ইতিমধ্যে এই ইনভেস্টররা অনেকে $300 মিলিয়ন মতো ইনভেস্ট করেছেন। সেই এই যে বিনিয়োগ, এটি বিপন্ন। ফলে আমার ধারণা যে রিভিউর যদি সুযোগ থাকে, সরকার নিঃসন্দেহে সেই সুযোগ দেন এবং যেগুলি উপযুক্ত সেগুলি রিভিউ হয়তো করবেন। আমি বিশ্বাস করি সিপিডি এই ধরনের গবেষণার মাধ্যমে জ্বালানি ক্ষেত্রে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ অবদান রাখতে সমর্থ হবে। ভবিষ্যতে বিশেষ করে আমি পাওয়ার মিক্সের কথা উল্লেখ করেছি, আমরা জানি যে আমাদের যে চাহিদা তার তুলনায় আমাদের ইনস্টল ক্যাপাসিটি অনেক বেশি। সো এটির একটি কিন্তু আগামী 10 বছরের জন্য বিশেষ করে যে আমরা কিভাবে এর ফেজ আউট করব, এই জিনিসটা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। ফলে ভবিষ্যতে সিপিডি এই বিষয়ে কাজ করবে বলে আমি আশা প্রকাশ করছি। আমাকে আমন্ত্রণ জানানোর জন্য এবং দীর্ঘক্ষণ এখানে আপনারা অপেক্ষা করেছেন, শুনেছেন এবং কথা বলেছেন, আপনাদের সকলকে আন্তরিকভাবে ধন্যবাদ জানিয়ে আমার বক্তব্য শেষ করছি। আল্লাহ হাফেজ।
স্যার একটা জিনিস একটু বেয়াদবি হয়ে যাবে,
একটু পরে মানে অনুষ্ঠানের শেষে বলি। হ্যাঁ, একটু পরে। হ্যাঁ, থ্যাংক ইউ মিস্টার জালাল আহমেদ, স্পেশাল গেস্ট চেয়ারম্যান বাংলাদেশ এনার্জি রেগুলেটরি কমিশন। for your thoughtful remarks as well. And we're very happy that you take the recommendations as well as the discussions that has come from the open floor very positively. And we are also very happy that the other representative from other government office, particularly from the BIDA, BPDB, SREDA, they also very positively take into account the recommendations. And we are very hopeful that through these kinds of seminars and engagements, and afterwards, much more closer engagement we're expecting with government agencies, particularly with BIDA, we could make positive changes in the future. So thank you all of your patiently waiting for over 4 hours. So with this, we like to conclude our today's session. There is lunch outside. Thank you.
Hello.